Hey guys, Trent more back here again, and this is just a simple video. This is gonna be a very short and sweet video for a specific reason. But also, we're switching back to that classic style of my older videos, which I just literally hold the phone like this and just talk and walk around. But now, since I'm trying to enhance my skills, do a little better. I do a little bit editing on the phone video. But once I get a real better camera, then I'll eventually start to put a lot more deeper edits. Because editing can be a very simple process. It's just depending on what you do. And editing is really not that difficult. It's not terrible difficult. But yeah, I want to talk about this really quick. We haven't even hit a minute yet on this video, so we're already doing pretty good. So I want to talk about this real quick because I think this is something that ever since it happened, just using phones have not been the same for certain people. The process of using the phone, listening to music, watching a video, really hearing through a phone in general with earbuds or headphones has changed. For example, well, really, this is the example and the only example: the headphone jack. The headphone jack, for example, the first manufacturers to take off the headphone jack, as most people know, was Apple. Apple decided, okay, let's create the 7. Let's get rid of the headphone jack. I'm gonna be honest with you, it was completely unnecessary. They didn't have to get rid of the headphone jack simply because the headphone jack was one of the main things that people liked about having a phone. You didn't have to use a dongle. You didn't have to use Bluetooth earbuds or speakers or headphones. You could just stick your earbuds right in and you would be able to listen. Same thing. Guess what happened? Google Pixel. Well, but to be more specific, Google Pixel 2. If you don't know, the Google Pixel 2 actually removed the headphone jack because it has USB-C. And so it's not the regular USB-C. I forgot what it stands for. It's like Universal Bus something. Universal Bus Source. I believe that's what it stands for. And so the USB is something that... Wait, Universal Source Bus. Is that it? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong if you know it. But I might just add it in the description. But to make a long story short, the USB has been a very important component of many different phones and many different sources of technology in general. And that's why the USB is so important. But, switching my hands, when we think about Apple, we think about the lightning adapter, you could say, or the lightning cord or cable. This is totally different from USB-C, totally different. And so, the thing is, what I'm trying to say is, the Google Pixel 2 removed the headphone jack, probably because they wanted to compete with Apple when they removed the headphone jack from the 7. I'm sorry for my hand being in the way right there. But this video is going to give really manufacturers of phones, in my opinion, an upper hand and an easier way to make more money. And what is that? I'm about to tell you right now. Create different models. I know it sounds weird. For example, Apple, they got rid of the headphone jack on the 7. What should Apple do, in my opinion? Remake the 7 with the headphone jack. Remake the 8 with a headphone jack. Remake the 10 with a headphone jack. Literally, take all of the models that you have removed the headphone jack from and just create another model for people to buy from. Now, I know it sounds weird because it's going to be like, well, I'm sorry, I'm switching hands again. But I know it's going to be a little weird because some are going to think, well, that's going to take more time. It's going to take a lot more money. Really, look, you guys have so much money anyways, like your Apple. And I'm going to dive deeper into Apple's business strategy, because I clearly know their business strategy. It's kind of sad because their business strategy is so stealthy and so cunning that literally it deceives so many people, and so many people are tricked by the way Apple has a way of business. And I'll explain that in another video. But what I'm telling you is Google Pixel 2, add in another model. So add in 2 more models that include the headphone jack. So have your XL and have your regular one with a headphone jack, and then have your regular Google Pixel 2 without a headphone jack. So basically you should have 4 models. Okay, 4 models in total. 2 with a headphone jack, 2 without a headphone jack, 2 that are extra large, 2 that aren't extra large, just regular. Same thing with Apple. Just create 4 models. 4 models for the 7, 4 models for the 8, and eventually 4 models for the 10, because they're obviously going to make a 10 Plus eventually. Because Plus is a different way that Apple decides to describe a bigger phone rather than saying extra large. Which extra large sounds a little bit more funny, while Plus seems a little bit more like technological and whatnot. And so, that's my advice for these companies. Because so many people complain about not having a headphone jack, and so they have to use this dongle, or they have to buy some new earbuds, and that's not really that fun. You know, they just want to just use the headphone jack as they are used to use. And so that's my business advice. If you want to make more money, because Apple already makes a lot of money. Where does most of their money come from? It comes from teens, because teens nowadays get their parents to buy themselves iPhones, and so what do parents do? They want to give their children what they want, and so then they get them they get their they get them their iPhones, and they're satisfied. I mean, most kids nowadays get whatever they want anyways. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't have an iPhone. It would have been nice to have an iPhone, but I'm happy with I'm happy with what I have. You know, I'm content. You know, but yeah, go back to the point I was saying. Create more models with headphone jacks. So just remake the 7 with a headphone jack. Remake the 8 with headphone jacks. Remake the Google Pixel 2 with headphone jacks. Pay attention to somebody like Samsung. What did Samsung do? Samsung still has a headphone jack. They didn't remove the headphone jack. The S9 has a headphone jack or earbud jack. And if I'm not right about that, I'll correct it. But the S9 and Samsung decided, hey, okay, we're still going to keep the headphone jack. Why? Because they know the headphone jack is good. It's amazing. While, you know, these other manufacturers are now just wanting to straight compete with each other, which isn't really good. I mean, it just seems like, Google was like, okay, since they removed it, we're going to remove it now. You didn't have to do that. You probably would have gotten more money if you just kept it, because with the original Google Pixel, there was a headphone jack. With iPhones, ever since 6S, after 6S and 6S Plus and whatnot, they got rid of it. And they decided with the 7 and the 8 and the 10, we're not going to have a headphone jack. And so what I'm saying is, I'm trying to help your businesses out. Apple, Google. I'm just letting you know, create more models with headphone jacks, okay? Of the same phones. But yeah, stream more back here again. I'll see you guys later. Peace.